It's 1:47 inches the morning. You told yourself you'd stop 30 minutes ago, but your thumb keeps moving. Another disaster, another headline, another thing to be afraid of. And the worst part isn't that you can't stop. It's that some part of you doesn't want to. That's not an addiction. That is a survival system doing exactly what it was built to do. Here's what no one tells you. The most exhausted, most anxious, most relentlessly informed people alive right now are not weak. They are running ancient threat detection hardware inside a world it was never designed to handle. By the end of this, you'll understand the exact mechanism behind why you can't look away from bad news, and, more importantly, what to do with that knowledge that doesn't require you to fight your own brain. The part that will actually change how you see yourself is coming. Stay with it. Society has a name for what you're doing at 1:47 a.m., doomscrolling. And attached to that word is a quiet accusation that you are somehow weak-willed, anxious by nature, maybe a little broken. Self-help culture loves to frame it as a discipline problem. Just put the phone down. Just be more mindful. Just stop. As if the people who scroll through earthquake footage and political collapse and economic dread for 2 hours before bed simply forgot to have enough willpower. That framing is not just wrong. It is backwards. The people who feel the pull of bad news most intensely are not the ones who care too much. They are the ones whose threat radar is calibrated most precisely. And a precise radar is not a flaw. It is a tool that saved your bloodline for 200,000 years. What you're experiencing has a name in behavioral neuroscience. It's called negativity bias, but that label undersells it. Negativity bias isn't a glitch or an emotional immaturity. It is a deeply structured asymmetry baked into how the human brain allocates attention and memory. Think of it this way. Your brain is not a balanced news anchor trying to give equal airtime to good and bad. It is a security guard who gets paid specifically to notice the one unlocked door in a building with 1,000 rooms. The locked doors don't need his attention. The one threat does. That guard is not paranoid. He is doing his job. The neuroscientist Rick Hansen spent years studying this asymmetry, and he landed on a phrase that cuts right to it. The brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Negative information sticks faster, encodes deeper, and gets retrieved more easily than positive information of equal intensity. A harsh word from a stranger at a coffee shop will outlast 3 compliments from people who love you. A news headline about a plane crash will feel more urgent than a headline about 10,000 safe landings. This is not irrationality. This is a system that was ruthlessly selected for. The ancestors who underweighted threats didn't pass on their genes. The ones who stayed alert, who kept scanning, who couldn't quite relax even when things seemed fine, they survived. Now here is where the ancient mechanism becomes visible. Truth 1. Your brain treats information about danger as a form of control. On the savannah, knowing where the predator was gave you options you could move, hide, warn others, prepare. Ignorance was lethal, so the brain learned to equate awareness of a threat with safety from it. Scroll far enough into the news and some part of your nervous system genuinely believes it is doing something useful. It feels like preparation. It feels like vigilance. It is the mental equivalent of your ancestor climbing the highest rock to scan the horizon at dusk, not because climbing helps, but because seeing what's coming first is the difference between living and not living. The tragedy is that reading about a geopolitical crisis at midnight changes nothing about the crisis, but the ancient brain doesn't know that. It only knows, if I stop watching, I might miss the thing that kills me. Truth 2. Bad news creates what neurologists call an orienting response, an involuntary, full-body pivot toward novelty and threat. It is the same reflex that makes you flinch when something moves fast in your peripheral vision. The amygdala, the brain's threat processing center, fires before your conscious mind has even formed a thought. And once it fires, it releases a small surge of cortisol, the stress hormone, which paradoxically sharpens your focus and makes you want more information. The scroll feeds the cortisol. The cortisol demands more scroll. This is not a moral failing. This is a feedback loop, built from survival logic, now running inside an infinite content machine that your ancestors could not have imagined. Truth 3. In the original human environment, information about danger was social currency. Knowing that a rival tribe had crossed into your territory, or that a drought was coming, or that a particular river crossing had killed someone last season, that knowledge made you valuable to your group. Sharing it made you indispensable. Your brain still registers the consumption of threat information as a form of social contribution. You are not just doomscrolling alone in bed. Some layer of your nervous system believes you are gathering intelligence for your tribe. The compulsion has a social logic. It just has no tribe left to serve. Here is the part that gets quietly buried. For most of human history, the information environment had natural limits. You could only hear bad news that was close enough to matter something within walking distance, something a messenger could carry. The threat was local. The response was physical. You ran, you fought, you built a fire, you moved camp. The cortisol that flooded your system had somewhere to go. Now the information environment has no edges. A flood in a country you've never visited arrives in your nervous system with the same neurological weight as a fire on your street. Your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a threat you can act on and a threat 10,000 miles away. So it stays activated. Cortisol keeps cycling, and the body pays the bill disrupted sleep. A baseline hum of dread. A strange exhaustion that no amount of rest seems to fix. You are not anxious because you are weak. You are running a threat response system at full power against an infinite stream of inputs it was never designed to process. So what do you do with a system you cannot turn off and probably shouldn't want to? 3 things, not to suppress the radar, but to give it what it actually needs. First, give your threat system a closing signal. The ancient brain calmed down when the threat resolved. The predator left, the storm passed, the tribe reached safety. Scrolling has no resolution. It is an open loop with no ending. So build one artificially. Set a physical limit, not a time limit, but a completion ritual. Close the app, stand up, walk to a window, look at something still. That physical transition tells the nervous system the scan is over. We are safe for now. It sounds almost too simple. It works because it speaks the brain's original language, not yours. Second, sort threats by radius. Your ancestors only had to respond to threats within a certain range. Try doing this consciously. When you feel the pull to keep reading, ask yourself, is this something within my actual circle of influence? Can I call someone, donate, vote, act? If yes, the information is useful. If no, your brain is consuming threat data it has no physical outlet for. Naming that distinction doesn't make the news less real. It just stops the cortisol from running in circles. Third, replace passive consumption with active agency, even in tiny form. The nervous system calms when it perceives control. Write one sentence about what you read. Text one person. Do one thing, however small, that converts information into action. The brain's threat loop closes when it believes a response has been issued. Even a symbolic response counts. You are not someone who can't handle the world. You are someone whose brain is doing something extraordinarily sophisticated, scanning for danger, encoding it deeply, staying alert so that the people you love don't get caught off guard. That is not a disorder. That is loyalty to survival, running in hardware 200,000 years old. The world changed in a century. Your brain hasn't had time to catch up. And the phone in your hand, with its infinite scroll and its algorithmic hunger for your attention, knows exactly how to find the unlocked door in the security guard's mind. It is not your fault that it works on you. It works on everyone whose ancestors survived, which is everyone. The thumb that keeps scrolling at 1:47 inches the morning is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that someone in your line a very long time ago never stopped watching the horizon. And because of that, you are here. The mechanism is not broken. It is just remembering a world that no longer exists.